What's up guys, Paul onesix here. I've got something a little different for you today. So I had a round on Fool's Road with optical and red that wasn't really great overall, but it had some nice close quarters action. When I was done with the rough cut of the round, I decided it sucked and I chose to change it into a tips and tricks video for close quarters combat. So these are some of the things I like to do to increase survivability and lethality when I'm in close quarters. I've done my best to focus on things that promote fair play, as well as something that can bring a real competitive edge to your playstyle. Due to the nature of how this video idea was conceived, it's pretty short and doesn't have a ton of tips. Think of it as a feeler video, and depending on how well it's received, I may do another more fleshed out tips and tricks video. For now, I'll let you guys get to it, and I hope you enjoy.
Are you driving this?
Oh, taking fire, taking fire.
Go. Where's it coming from?
Southeast.
I didn't get a direction, I was just getting hit. I rolled
Right.
up.
Let's get up in the train here. Head east. Alright, the first tip I have for you guys is using the terrain to your advantage. So you can see in this situation here, rather than running straight on from where we got shot at, I decided to bring my squad up a little bit. The reason I did this was to get some terrain between me and the enemy. So you're always going to be at a disadvantage fighting uphill. So you have to try and find anything that will help level the playing field. When you put some terrain in between you and your enemy, they may think that looking one direction that it looks clear, but you can actually be hidden and not even get detected. You can see here after I killed this guy, you can imagine what the other squad's thinking. They looked over to where he was and they didn't see anybody around him, so they assumed that he just got shot from farther down, when actually I was only 5 or 10 meters away. So to break this analysis down, I basically used the terrain to hide myself visually and took the opportunity of using the sounds of the assault to hide any audio giveaways that I might have given. Another point, since we're on the topic of these wooded areas, is to make yourself a small target. This is something that's kind of tough to do in these places, but doing things like crouching and ADSing will really increase your survivability. In these kind of areas, the camouflage works, right? That's why they make it like this. So it is a little bit harder to pick people out if they're staying still. Our eyes rely on movement to pick out our targets. Someone who's sprinting through the trees might be detectable at, say, 100 meters, but someone crouching and walking slowly might not be able to really pick them out of the corner of your eye until about 20 meters. The hardest part of this tactic is fighting the urge to sprint or rush. Everything feels like it's really exciting, especially if you've got one guy or you feel like you need to get into the action quicker. It's better to just play it slow because you'll keep the advantage of being able to surprise your enemy. If you start sprinting, you're much more likely to be detected. What's the sit rep on the medics? You healing someone down there?
Oh, wow. Jesus Christ.
Can you guys
Hey, can you make that
fucking
50 a
keep
little
it
bit quieter?
Frag out, frag out, frag out, frag out, frag. Frag.
The next tip I have for you guys is to aim center mass. So this might be kind of obvious for most people, but in close quarters everything is happening so fast, it's really easy to move off of your target. Your sights can get out of line, or they can move and you might not be able to see it around your weapon. So in these kind of situations, someone who's going for headshots only will be beat by anyone who likes to flop around corners, or even people who are crouching. This is one of my more subjective tips. You could argue that the damage multipliers for parts of the body make aiming for the head justifiable risk, just because if you do get the shot, it's going to drop them much quicker. But most of these tips I'm making are more about probability and what is most likely to happen. The next tip I want to talk to you about is leaning. This is probably going to take up the majority of the video. I've got so many points on leaning. I think it's a great mechanic, and I think even though it's still something that's really commonly used, I still think it's underrated, especially when it comes to close quarters combat. Leaning mixed with good spatial awareness and a quick trigger finger makes you pretty much unstoppable. leaning around a corner, you should put your sights just below where you expect a standing torso to be. This is an optimal position, in my opinion, so that you can make sure that you see past your weapon if they're crouched, while still having the shortest distance to travel back to get your sights on target again. Another important concept with leaning is spatial awareness. So while you're looking for the enemy, you should also be thinking about how you look to the enemy. So standing in the center of a doorway is much more shootable than, say, crouching along a wall. This circles back to one of my first points, which was make a small target. And to build on that, going around a corner, you can use your lean and your crouch to expose as little of your body as possible, which you can see me doing a few times here up these stairs. When someone's entering a room, they're on full auto, the blood's pumping, they're ready to kill anything that moves. This often means a lot of poorly placed shots. So if you're standing in the open, you're very likely at such a short distance to get tagged by a bunch of poorly placed shots. But as you can see in this clip, making a small target gives you a great advantage in those kind of situations. You can see most of the shots here hit the wall to my left, and I'm able to quickly and accurately return fire. This being done just by quickly combining a couple of these simple tips.
Are you both dead?
Yeah.
I'm up.
Alright.
Got a
I'm
medic
gonna
on
give
the
up.
stairway.
Friendly up in stairway. Another thing people often don't think about is weapon positioning. I've killed countless people because while they were trying to slowly sneak around a corner, they gave me a nice heads up by having their barrel stick around for a good 2 seconds before they actually showed up, so I knew that they were going to be there. As a general rule of thumb, you should keep about 1 soldier width between you and any doorway, corner, or window to ensure your rifle isn't giving away your position.
Dude, I got the fucking magic touch. I'm also gonna die.
The next tip I have for you here is spacing. This is a tough one to be disciplined with in close quarters, but spacing is just as, if not more important, in small spaces as it is in anywhere else. In an enclosed area like a room or these staircases, a fully automatic weapon can clear it almost as quickly as a grenade can. You can minimize this possibility by being aware of your spacing and using points of cover to do a type of leapfrog action. This is something I practice regularly, and if you look for it in my videos, you'll see it for sure. Basically, you just occupy the cover of the person who just moved up. Visually, I try and break down everywhere where everybody is as a point of cover, unless they're out in the open. But even something like this center wall can be a point where I can leapfrog to when the next person moves up. So that way I've always have something that I can run and hide behind. With enough practice, this really just becomes second nature, and it'll make it much more likely that you end up in a last man situation, leaving the door open to kill all the bad guys, heal all your buddies, and exaggerate greatly on how it really happened.
Wow, do not go outside.
How do I have a 40-minute video only at 5 minutes?
Alright guys, I'm going to wrap it up on my first attempt at a tips and tricks video. Please let me know what you thought either in the comments below, on Twitter, or on the squad forums. Please like the video if you do like the video, and subscribe as you see fit, and I'll see you guys next time.